Welcome to Samutsari, Conversations with Mimi, a weekly podcast by Dinosocial, also a member of the Gorilla Podcast Syndicate. Samutsari is where we can show that ordinary people do extraordinary things. Tune in to be entertained and to learn something new with your host, Mimi Lorilla.
So, hello everybody, and welcome to my podcast, Samutsari. This is your host, Mimi Roholarilia. A podcast of Samutsari is all about the hot topics of the day. It's a variety podcast show where we feature guests who have their passion and talents and profession that really create a difference in other people's lives. And today we're here to inspire you again with another story from our guest from the Philippines. And she is my namesake, and I know her family. I know one of her sons, because he went to high school with me. So I'm going to introduce now to you Tita Mimi Cortez Ocampo. Hello, and how are you?
Good morning, Mimi. And first, thank you for inviting us in your show, in this podcast show.
I'm really thankful that you agreed to be a part of the show, because I know that you also have other things that you are doing there. And with everything that's going around, the time that we have is very, very precious to me. So I really would like to thank you for that. Our topic for today, Tita Mimi, is gracefully aging, how to keep young, active, and busy.
Wow.
I think you're the perfect person to interview for this topic. So let's start by introducing yourself to our audience, our viewers. Can you tell us briefly who Mimi Ocampo is, and what are you busy with at the moment? What keeps you busy these days?
Your Tita Mimi is the right person for the show. Age 73.
Wow, doesn't look like it.
Age 73. And first, I'm a wife, a mother, and the mother to 3 children who gave us 10 grandchildren.
Wow.
Okay. Well, we're together with the university when you were here, and I served the university for some 45 years until I reached 65. But my service was continued up to age 71, and that was just last year, 2018. So that's how long I have been serving the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Until 2018, I was a professorial lecturer, adjunct professor. But until now, I'm still making recommendation letters for my students, for their employment, for their entering graduate school. So I really don't feel I'm retired already. So,
yes.
Feeling young pa rin talaga.
Yes. So, Tita Mimi,
not retired yet.
I know for a fact that you travel a lot, okay? You have your Facebook post of recalling the different places that you've traveled to. And can you tell me, why did you travel a lot when you were still connected to the university? What was your consultancy role all about?
I'm very fortunate. I have been very fortunate to have been given those opportunities. First, my 5-year engagement with the Sasakawa Foundation project, the Link Card project, actually is strengthening the linkages, networking of our university with other universities and LGUs, enabled me to attend conferences, do some kind of exchange visits. So that's for 5 years, and that meant a lot of traveling, not only around Philippines in our project areas, but also in those project areas of my counterparts in Indonesia, in Japan, and other places else, in Thailand. So that's for 5 years. But even aside from that, I am very fortunate to have been with CARD, the Center for Agriculture and Rural Development,
Mhm.
mutually reinforcing institutions. That's the biggest, the largest microfinance NGO in the Philippines. And that enables me to travel a lot, not only within the country, but my first trip to USA in 1997, I guess, to attend the first microcredit summit was through CARD. I was a member of their delegation. And lately, after retirement, as I've told you, I've been to Africa for a World Bank funded project on the implementation and the operation of their training center at Nampula. I serve as their training coordinator. So that's just some of the few opportunities that I had in traveling.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also fortunate to link with other institutions that sent me to places like those. Like I represented the country in the first Appropriate Technology for Rural Women Conference in Thailand. That was in the 1990s yet. Still very young then. But I maintained my contact, that's how I got to meet Mr. Aris Ali, who was also a country representative. And since then, I have maintained my contact with Dr. Aris Ali and with CARD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tita Mimi, maybe the people are wondering because you mentioned you have a lot of roles. You are a lecturer, you are a consultant, you are also an adjunct professor. You're very much entrenched with the extension NGO work. What is your field of specialization exactly that enabled you to be available to these different subsectors in the university?
First, my BS, I majored in extension education.
Yes.
That's working with rural people in the Philippines, of course. That's one. And then my masteral is on community development. Again, that will bring me to communities where my services are needed.
Mm-hmm.
My PhD is on development studies. And as we know, development is a multifaceted discipline that cuts across different boundaries of development, ensuring that we have a better life, not only today, but also for tomorrow. So it just keeps on coming, going there and here and there. That's how my life has been. In the university, that question makes me think. Yeah, what enables me? I was into fourfold function of the university, meaning first I was into instruction, right? And then that's formal studies, graduate studies of my students coming from different places. Some I was able to go to and visit.
Yeah.
And then aside from teaching and extension work, I was also very active in research work. I have maintained my contacts with my fellow Japanese scholars. And so sometimes I wear not only UPLB hat, but also other hats of universities that we link with in doing research work. Okay? And I am also able to slide to some administrative functions, like I think I'm more known for that as Director of Alumni Relations Office of the university, and for a time with the Public Affairs Office of the university. So, that brings me to all places, meeting alumni here and there, social functions from birthdays, anniversaries, funerals even.
That's
part of the
right.
job. That's part
I know.
of the job.
Tita Mimi, in all honesty, I think you need to dump all those different hats and just be called an ambassador. I think you are an ambassador of everybody. You do everything for everyone and you have the energy, you have the passion, you have the enthusiasm to do all of those. So you're perfect in your role. So that's the work side. Now, how do you unwind, rest, and relax? What do you do when you're not working? What are your hobbies?
Oh, I've got plenty of hobbies actually, aside from work, which I consider is, well, you really have to enjoy your work. So it does not stress you so much because you are happy doing it. But see this one I'm wearing. This is
Yes,
part
yes.
of my,
Explain to
yeah,
our
part of my
listeners what that
advocacy.
is.
Yes. Well, people will just look at this as beadwork. Okay.
Mhm.
But deeper than that, this is part of my recycling advocacy. I made use of used ribbons, yeah, for gifts. I keep those. I keep papers, gift wrappers, and make them into beads, paper beads, and all other scraps like this is supposed to be thrown already. You know, I don't know if this is part of dog chain, but anyway, these are these are supposed to be thrown. Little things, papers, uh, beads that have been thrown away. When my children were small, they were playing with the beads I have collected from different trips, and I was able to save some, and so I put them together. You can
Wow.
see maybe that wall hanging over there, uh, the lampshade
Yeah.
with beads hanging there.
Okay, that's also your project.
What I also do. Yeah, that's what I also do. And we are in the garden.
Yeah.
You can see the garden we have. Okay.
You have many
We're
plants. I used to
many
visit you
plants.
there, and I admire your plants. You're just like my mom. She loves plants, and she surrounds her house with many, many plants. I think as a Los Baños citizen or native of Los Baños, it's quite natural for you to be surrounded by nature. So
Yeah, yeah.
the beading project that you have, Tita Mimi, do you do it on your own or do you have a group? Do you sell those projects? What do you do with your beads?
Oh, I failed to show you some of this. These are this one. Have you seen?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. You
They're
can
in
see
on
it.
display. Yeah.
Yeah. They're actually uh, done by me with other ladies. Some have retired, like the registrar of the university, Dr. Carol Santillana.
Yeah.
Is one of our bidders. Yeah, Dr. Santillana. And we have Cora Rapera of economics. Also Marilisa Tigsay of environmental science, School for Environmental Science. And some young ones, younger than us, like Jenny Contreras, who actually is our guru. She's the most
Okay.
experienced, and she's also into business, selling her crafts. But the rest of us, Mildred, Anunciado also, much younger than us, Anunciado Tan, Yvonne Cabanilla, and the one who just passed away, your fellow DevCom colleague, Mayet Mansa, we're just no bidders.
Mhm.
That's how we got to be together. The love for beadwork, doing crafts. But actually, even before I came up, we came up with this group. I had friends who really introduced me to beading, and that's Cindy Season Santos and Francis Faustino. We would be beading our clothes, the ones that I use for weddings as a sponsor. Okay, I'll just get the clothes done by our costureras and then do the beading ourselves. And while beading, we're able to talk, we're able to sing, and enjoy the fun, the night, while doing our beadwork.
It's what do you call that? It's a good talking point during those events to see your own product and to talk about your advocacy, which is very, very admirable, Tita Mimi. And speaking of advocacy, you're also very involved in different community groups, community-based organizations. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I want to show or demonstrate to our viewers that you don't have to just do things for yourself, but also to become involved in the community is also good for your mental health, good for your social life, and good for also connecting with other people.
First, when I was still connected with the university, I did not accept being in the board of the NGOs I was working with.
Mm-hmm.
But after retirement, I said, okay, I'll accept whatever board positions would be given me. Well, the first three, and then put a stop to that because I cannot engage in so many. Okay, so the first community work that I accepted was to be with our church education arm, the Christian School for International. So I think I served for 3 terms. That meant more than 6 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first. And then the second, okay, was with in the field of medicine, the Los Baños Physical Medicine Rehabilitation Center. I also accepted being part of the board. And then the Hands of Love Foundation Philippines Incorporated. Actually, it's the local Philippines sector supported by Food for the Hungry of Japan. We're working with Aita communities in Mindoro. Now, other than that, well, so many opportunities to help whenever there are typhoons, earthquakes, even in this time of COVID. Well, these are just the times where our community involvement is needed. Actually, just now, I'm going to show you this, actually ready for pickup. I said, if they come, we might as well be ready so we won't be disturbed in our interview. This is it. Do you see?
Yes, there's a box. There are 2 boxes.
Two boxes and envelope. Okay. These boxes will go to Marawi.
Marawi. Wow.
Marawi City, yeah. Because after 3 years, since the devastation of Marawi from earthquakes, well, they still need to be helped, especially this time of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we don't run out of opportunities to be of help, to serve.
Wow. So serving Tito Mimi doesn't bind you into an age group. As long as you can help, you can obviously whatever resources you have in whatever capacity you have. There is always that drive to be of service to other people, and I think that's very deeply rooted, not just in your professional background, but also in your personal values. So, how do you keep those values alive, and who are your support groups, support networks that help you always be grounded as an individual?
First, I have to credit my family, my parents who raised us up, okay, instilling us that values of being of service, of being of help to many, you know. I think my parents' bakery absorbed so many unemployed people from our barrio, giving them jobs like panadero, panadero, baker, sellers, store sellers, and etc. And many part-time high school, college workers employed in our bakery just to be helped with their studies. So I grew up in a home where we're supposed to be only 2 at the beginning, Alex, and I, and then became 4. But I grew up with many people in our homes, those who need to be housed in the city so they can go on with their education because they come from the barrios. Okay, so that already instilled in me, even as early as my young age, the value of one kinship. Okay, we have to love our especially the needy ones, those
Mhm.
who need to be helped. And then, what more values have been instilled in me? Well, I always attend. My parents always will require us, to be ready on Sundays for
Mhm.
Sunday school. And so, for whatever we have become, we have always been grateful for everything, in anything and everything. Be grateful. That's what we learned from as early as our kinder days, no, in Sunday school. So, love for God, love for everything that He has created, and that includes not only nature but people as well.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
yeah, so that has been ingrained in us since our young days, and so I
Yeah.
credit my parents.
Wow.
And
It's so
yeah,
inspiring, Tito Mimi. Your story is so inspiring. I feel like I want to cry right now because um this talks the everything that you're sharing with me is not only shared with me but shared with other people. So definitely everything that you're telling me right now also resonates with others and kind of helps them think about how they have grown up probably, and also how those values need to be a part of them, because I think nowadays with the advent of technology some of the kids are losing those values, or how to get in touch with the ones that are most important. What do you think about that?
even in this age of technology where children are so engrossed with their gadgets, the role of parents is very important. Even in the choice of programs, that children need to listen to, watch. Parents will have the biggest role in the choice of programs that children should see.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that, engaging in those things are bad, but I don't think so. Because right this time, were it not for our grandchild who helped us set up this, all what you will require, setting up the phone, getting your address, signing in, etc. I've been helped by my granddaughter. So that's the positive side.
Yes, definitely, I agree.
Imagine, we don't like our children to be left out with what is happening in the world. They've
Mm-hmm.
got to keep abreast with all these developments.
Yeah.
But the guidance should never be underestimated. And
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, is the role of parents and even elders,
Mm-hmm.
grandparents like us. So
Wow.
that's
That's great. So, Tita Mimi, with all your busyness, maybe one question is, do you ever get sick? Do you have anything that's bothering you in your age at the moment? Like some people in within your age group, they already have I don't know, diabetes, or they might have arthritis. Do you have any of those conditions, or you consider yourself perfectly healthy at the age of 70 plus?
I think all those sickness, type of sickness you mentioned are part of the landscape. But again, I'd say God has been so good to me. I'm able to manage my sugar, my cholesterol, my BP to always borderline. Well, sometimes they're easier to they go up and harder to go down.
Mm-hmm.
But managing the food intake and the exercises I make and the gardening I do help. Yeah, if you see my garden, that will already require, for some, that will already require a day,
Yes.
you know, to take care of. Also, my household, we don't have domestic help, so we do things ourselves.
Mhm.
So that keep us on the go every time and
Mhm.
help us live healthily. Okay, so that's why exercises to bring your BP, cholesterol, your sugar, that's part of living every day. But
Mhm.
still, I devote at least 15 to 30 minutes exercises, physical exercises. How? There's that 15-minute walk a mile exercise. I do that every day. I also do the potting, the 9 times of potting,
Mhm.
and I do that also every day. So, I'm salamat sa Diyos, thank God. And staying under the tree, they said, what do you call that? What kind of healing? Pranic healing.
Ah, I see.
So, yeah, pranic healing. So, well, I think, I believe they help. But I also take my medicines, like
Mhm.
my vitamins, multivitamins, vitamin D, uh, and then this time, vitamins to keep your nerves healthy and strong, you know. So at this age, but thank God I'm not into maintenance medicines.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay,
I
that's a
don't need that.
bonus. That is a bonus for you.
Yes.
I really think you're one of the lucky ones. So, Tita Mimi, we're almost towards the end of our very nice conversation today. So, because of the topic of graceful aging, maybe the last question I will ask you is, why is it, in your opinion, important for seniors to keep being busy but active in a good way to age gracefully? So tell us your tips and your advice to get us in onto the right path.
Well, from a medical standpoint, they said that if we don't use our body, then especially our brain, our nerve cells, then we'll lose it. It's use or lose it.
Yes.
So, if we want our brain to go on functioning, it pays uh, uh, to keep with our studies, with our reading, with our interacting with people, uh, from which we can learn much. And they say that, you know, intelligent people have more interconnectivities of
Mhm.
nerve cells in their brain. And so we should make those nerve cells function and grow, not to lose the growth of those nerve cells. So that's how we can keep us young and well, not young, not in the physical standpoint, not even in terms of years, but young in the sense that we have always bright hopes every time we wake up in the morning. We are thankful that we can still see the sun up and hear the chirping of the birds. That's more than good enough, and we say thanks. Thank
Mhm.
you, Lord.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. This is a nice kind of chat in your times early in the morning, and you're already radiating good vibes, positive energy. So really, my super last question is, how do you think older people should cope with COVID-19? How what should their disposition be? And should we be afraid of COVID-19 given your age?
Well, as I said earlier, medical issues are always part of the aging landscape. And the more reason why older people should take good care of their health, especially in these times of COVID. So there are many protocols that have been brought out by WHO, by if you read Facebook, you will be flooded with so many information, guidelines on how we can beat COVID. And so, elderly should be more mindful of that. From washing their hands at least 20 seconds a day, keeping themselves always clean, having that storage of alcohol in their house, inside and even outside, and of course, taking care of the food they eat. Actually, now that there is quarantine, we have become more healthy in the food that we eat.
Mm, that's
Uh,
right.
because when there was no COVID, we would be eating outside and we would be eating most of the time unhealthy food.
Yes.
But now we are taking care of our health. We are very mindful of the food that we eat.
Wow.
So
So there's still some
yeah,
positives from COVID-19. There's still some good things that came about as a result of us being stuck at home. So anyway, thank you very much for the time you have given me in the show. And I really do appreciate your insights, valuable inputs, and very inspiring words. And hopefully when other people watch us or listen to us, they would feel that there is always something that good comes out of something that's probably not so good, and that old age is not a barrier for us to achieve a
yeah,
lot. Yeah.
yes. Just remember, retirement is not a finish line.
Hmm.
It's not the end of your life. There are many things that you can still do, not only for yourselves, not only for your family, but for your community as well.
That's right. I agree totally, 100%. And if you don't mind, if people are interested in your advocacy, in your bidding, and if just in case they want to get in touch with you, maybe they can contact me and I will reach out to you and link you up with them. Tita Mimi,
Sure,
if
sure.
that's okay. All right. So thank you again for your time today. And as to close the show, I would like to ask the audience if they have any stories or topics that they wish to feature in the show. They can email me at mimi@dinosocial.com. Samutsari is a member of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate, and please reach out to us via our Facebook page, Twitter account, and the podcast is also available by Spotify and also through Apple Podcast, Overcast, Google Podcast, and many, many more. So thank you again, Tita Mimi. This is not the end because I'm going to invite you and Tito Pete in another episode. So let's wave to our viewers goodbye for now. And we'll see you guys in the next edition of Samutsari Conversations with Mimi. Bye.
If you find value in this episode, make sure you like and subscribe to be notified of new releases. If you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out to Guerrilla Podcast or send us an email at mimi@dinosocial.com. Spread the word and don't forget to tune in next time.